Happy Thursday morning, everyone. Hope this finds you well and living your very best life in Jesus Christ. Recently, I talked to an old friend who happened to be down, and he mentioned that he was beginning to feel old. The way he said it was this: I've begun to notice the days growing shorter, and I've realized that I have fewer days ahead of me than I have behind me now. It makes me sad to think about. Then he sighed and he said, well, the Bible is so right. Life truly is a vapor. I think many of us can understand his comments. I've even had many young to me, people say with a sigh, where is all the time gone? And, things like, well, I'd planned to have this accomplished by now or that accomplished by now. What am I going to do? It's all just slipping away. When we're little, time seems to crawl. To Landry, a week may as well be an eternity. And I, too, remember being frustrated at how slowly time passed when all I wanted to do was be older. In first grade, I remember distinctly seeing a group of fifth graders run past and thinking, it's going to take me forever to be that old. Well, I did get to fifth grade. I finished high school, completed college, and now looking back and at the age of 61, I can see how quickly time really passes. I mean, think about it. I've been married for 41 years. That's incredible. I taught at Elkview Middle School for 32 years, and that seems to have passed in the blink of an eye. Our son Kevin has been gone for 8 years now. It seems like yesterday. And I realized this morning that I've been acting as pastor at our church for more than 2 years now. It seems like I just started yesterday. I looked it up today, and as of March, I think it's the 20th, I have been doing 6 devotionals a week for a full year. That's 312 devotionals I will have written and recorded. Wow. Isn't it interesting that when you start things, you don't know where it will lead, and all you can do is focus on one day at a time. But no matter what, time just keeps ticking on by. I suppose if you think about it, that's the way we human beings are wired. I think sometimes if we were to really see the consequences of each and every action we take in the long term, we'd be frozen in place by fear that we would do something wrong. I think it's a blessing from God that we can really only look at today, because yesterday is gone and tomorrow, frankly, is in His hands. I was reading in Genesis 19 the other day about the story of Jacob's courtship and marriage to Rachel. Up until recently, I was baffled that Jacob could work for 7 years before marrying someone he loved. And then hearing about how Laban deceived him by giving him the wrong daughter, I couldn't believe this was really in the Bible. I remember thinking that 14 years was a terrifically long time for a girl. As a child, 7 years was a lifetime. For much of my life, 7 years would have been the far-flung future. And I must say that even now I rarely look or plan 7 years ahead, and yet, now, I've come to realize that 7 years can pass in the blink of an eye. If there's one thing growing older does for us, I think it gives us a sense of perspective. Looking back, I can see how God is faithful in different ways through different seasons of my life. The more time that goes past, the more opportunity God has to mold me and to draw me closer to His will. Though, like my friend, I occasionally start to feel like time just goes too quickly, I'm trying to teach myself to just take one day at a time and make the most of every moment God has blessed me with. It reminds me that one of my favorite quotes, it comes from a character in a TV show, and he said this: someone once told me that time was a predator that stalked us all our lives. I rather believe that time is a companion who goes with us on the journey and reminds us to cherish every moment, because it will never come again. Then he goes on to say what we leave behind is not as important as how we've lived. After all, we're only mortal. I take that quote as a reminder that every day is vitally important in my walk with Jesus, and that every day it's vitally important to use the time to grow in Him and build His kingdom. Because no matter what we do, this day will never come again. In the end, what we do for the world will be swiftly forgotten, but what we do for Him, by loving others, seeking His will in our lives, and using every opportunity to the fullest, will give our time here on earth a meaning and a purpose that, frankly, the world just cannot comprehend. So today I challenge you to go forth and use every moment for joy, for Him. Waste nothing in your lives. After all, life is truly but a vapor. I hope you make today a fantastic day. I want you to know that I'm here should you need me, and I love you all.